Hi, so it is Thursday, 8:30 on Thursday. I am fresh from the gym, obviously. I had a lovely workout. We did heavy weights. Oh my god, my arms, my legs, my butt, my everything. Ow. It's like I have no muscle. Like I knew I had no muscle, but I really have no muscle at all. I have pretty tattoos. But I was like, I feel super weak. I feel super meh. And my instructor was like, why do you feel weak? You were lifting 20 pounds. And I was like, yeah, but before I went on vacation, I was doing like 30, 35. And now I'm doing 20, 25. And I feel weak. And she was like, well, you've been on vacation for 3 months. What did you expect? And I was like, meh, to come back and be exactly where I was before? I don't know. Anyway, and then I was in the gym and I went and showered in the locker room, and there was 2 ladies who I talked about last time who helped me with that sausage for my son. They were like, we've been friends for like a year and a half approximately, and like we chat and we talk and life is good, but I have never felt the full force of their interrogation until today. They wanted to know everything. What was my son's father's last name? Where did his family come from? Like, do I know how to cook specific dishes? Do I know how to speak Tagalog? Does my son know how to speak Tagalog? Well, what about his father? Does he speak Tagalog? Couldn't they see a picture of my son's grandparents? And I was just like, you guys are crazy. Like, they were really sweet about it. They weren't, I mean, they weren't malicious. They weren't mean. It was just kind of really invasive. And I don't generally talk and be like, oh yeah, my mixed race son and me. Like, you know, like the way that they were speaking about it was really, I don't know, I guess I come from a place of privilege where I don't think about my ancestry. I don't think about the fact that my grandfather is full-blooded Mexican and I'm just white with red hair. That doesn't ever, like, and when I look at my son, I don't think, oh, these are his Caucasian features and these are his Filipino features, and you can definitely tell. Like, I don't look at him and think that way, and maybe I'm just very blessed and that's why I don't. Or maybe I just, for me personally, what a person looks like, what their features look like, what their characteristics of, I don't ever look at somebody and think, where did you come from? Let me break you down by piece and part. Oh, your eyes signify this and your nose signifies that and your mouth and your hair texture and your, no, that's just, you're a person. You look the way you look because that's how your genes happen to express themselves. It's nothing, like, it doesn't, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just lucky to be able to ignore that feature. Maybe I'm just lucky. I know when I was talking to my Irish gentleman a ways back, he was showing me pictures and he's like, oh, you can tell that these are all immigrants. And I was like, how can you tell? They just look like people to me. And he's like, oh, well, these are clearly not Irish features, and look at their skin color and look at their hair color. I'm like, they just look like people? Maybe because I live in Southern California and it's very ethnically diverse, and it's never been like, oh, people in Southern California from California look a specific way, because everybody's so diverse. Everybody looks different and they're all born here, so they're all Californian or they come from other places, and it doesn't really matter. I don't know. None of my friends look like imprints of each other. And the particular ethnicity of a person has never mattered to me. I mean, I've run afoul of it. I've run afoul of it by being on the wrong side of the, like, female relations in the family, to put it politely. But it's not really something I consider, as I don't look at somebody and think, oh, they're this type of friend and this type of person and that means X and Y. It was just really kind of creepy to have them dissect my son like that. And for them to want to see pictures of his father and then dissect his father's ancestry, and we're like, oh, does he have mixed blood too? Well, can we see his mother? Can we see his father? Can we see, like, his siblings? What do they look like? Oh, they're all very pale. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're very light-skinned, yes. And then they're like, well, do you know, do they have mixed ancestry? Do you know? And I'm like, what? Who goes to somebody and says, hey, you're really pale? Like, I mean, who does that? It doesn't, I don't know. It was very, I mean, maybe this is just me being lucky in my life, and it's never really affected me, and it's never really affected my family, even though, yes, my grandmother was married to my grandfather in, you know, the late 50s, and they were a mixed race couple, and they did face discrimination, and I know that he had some issues with his job and stuff like that, but I always feel like, oh, and where I live now, it's not an issue, but I guess it is, and I'm lucky, very, very lucky. Nobody questioned me when I started dating my son's father. Nobody gave me crap about it. Nobody gave him crap about it. Like, a couple of his aunties were like, you don't know how to cook traditional food, we're gonna teach you. But other than that, like, nobody cared. I've never had somebody dissect my son. I'm a little skeezed out by it. They're really sweet ladies, though. I don't know. I guess I'm just very privileged, and this has been eye-opening. What else to say? It's Thursday. I'm gonna put on my shrug that will suddenly make my outfit professional. Magically. The second you put on a shrug that has like full sleeves, you're professional. When you don't have full sleeves, you're not professional. Because then you're like flashing around body art and showing off your form in a different way. I don't know. I don't come up with dress code standards. I didn't decide that showing arm was unprofessional. I don't think it's unprofessional. Nobody cares what I think. And on that note,